So I kind of wanted to build on the previous video that I had about timing for cars and talk a little bit about this really cool technique that I've been trying out with students that's been helping people cut down their timing from like 14 to 15 minutes per passage to almost like 5 to 6 minutes. So one of the common problems people have is that they take a really long time to get through the passage and the questions, and sometimes the passage can suck up a lot of time. From the students that I've worked with, I realized some of the common issues that happen when they're reading a passage is, let's say you've got like 6 or 7 paragraphs. Sometimes people get really stuck at the beginning and they spend so much time reading the beginning that they end up rushing through the end, and even then they may not pick up on a lot of details and they spend too much time. On top of that, a lot of people have a tendency to either get stuck on things that they've read, they have a tendency to reread, and also a lot of people feel like, oh, I need to get every single detail. So what's been really helpful for that is instead of saying, hey, your baseline is 14 minutes and I'm going to gradually cut it down, actually what's been working is timing people per paragraph that they're reading. So a helpful way of doing this is you can start off with 2 minutes per paragraph and kind of go from there. You can use the stopwatch kind of feature on like the phone, especially if you have an iPhone and you have like the clock app, and you can use that to basically track how long you take for every single paragraph. So there are a number of benefits for this. The first is that you can go from 2 minutes and kind of cut your way down to 1.5 and 1 minute, and there's a lot of flexibility. So if a paragraph is super small and it takes you like a minute to read, you don't have to spend all those 2 minutes, just move on and use it to track your progress. The other benefit for this is that it forces you to pace yourself as you're reading. So what's really nice is like if you think of a passage as kind of like running a marathon, instead of spending too much time at the beginning, rushing through the end, you're kind of like pacing yourself per mile as you're running. And this is kind of the same thing. Instead of rushing through the passage or getting stuck too much, you're reading each paragraph and kind of moving on from there. And this is assuming that you are not focusing on every single little detail. Usually if you capture about 70 to 80% of what you read, you should be okay. And also when you're reading, if you get stuck on something you read, look at like the sentence or two above and the sentence or two below. Try to relate it to some examples that you read, and if that still doesn't work, try to move on because other information that is equally as valuable might be throughout the passage. So yeah, big takeaway is if you're struggling with improving timing for your car's passages, you can either try cutting down the timing gradually, so about like 30 seconds to a minute per week, or you can also try timing yourself per paragraph, going from about 2 minutes per paragraph down to gradually to 1 minute. And you can go even faster than that if you please.